Nigel Clayton, an entrepreneur for almost 40 years, has been helping entrepreneurs create the business and life they really want. This course guides entrepreneurs in balancing tangible business practices with intangible elements like vision and mindset. Learn to overcome fear, optimize time management, develop effective strategies, discover your ideal business day, and create a path to sustainable success and fulfillment. Welcome, Nigel, to the stage.
Hello, everyone. I am Nigel Clayton, and I am also a ICF Master Certified Coach and a retired CPA, as well as being an entrepreneur. So let's talk about entrepreneurs. Have you ever noticed when somebody wants to start a entrepreneurial business, they sound so excited, they have all this energy, they're jumping up and down, they're going to rule the world, and they're just so happy. And then after a while, they feel overwhelmed, overworked. They have lost their mojo and they just feel stuck and they don't know what to do. How do you go from being so positive to feeling like a failure? Well, there's a lot of things that can cause that to happen in an entrepreneurial business because it lets everything in. But I'm going to talk to you about 5 things that you need to be aware of if you are an entrepreneur or you're thinking of being an entrepreneur. Number one, for most of our lives, we have been trained to be followers. Whether it's in class or working for somebody else, there's always been somebody there telling us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And then we get this bright idea that we want to be an entrepreneur. And very quickly, we find out when we start our entrepreneurial business, there is nobody there telling us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. The question is, how do we make that transition from being a follower to being a leader, even if we're just leading ourselves in a very short amount of time? Number two, most entrepreneurial businesses aren't given enough money to create a completed structure. It's a work in process. We may get some money from people. We might get some from the 3 F's, family, friends, or fools. But we really don't get enough to put everything in place. So what do? Well, when we're an entrepreneur and we don't have enough money, everything that has to happen is our responsibility. So all of a sudden, all these things that happen in a business come at us like a tsunami all at once, and we're not ready for it. So what happens to you is you turn into a reactor. You react to everything that's happening in the moment. But will your reaction really be the right decision? Will it be something that helps you get to where you want to be? That's the question. Number 3, there is a difference in the entrepreneurial business between the product or service that you sell and the business. Both of them need to be known by the entrepreneur. A lot of entrepreneurs know what their product or service is, but they don't know anything about business or they don't know how to run a business. And if that goes on for very long, it ends up being a very creative mess, and it will eventually bring your company down. Number 4, there are 2 parts of an entrepreneurial business. There's the tangible parts and the intangible parts. When I first started working with entrepreneurs, because my clients have always been small entrepreneurial businesses, I started working with them in my CPA practice on the tangibles. I'd help them understand what was going on in their business, what things were good that they were doing, what things needed to be let go of because it was going to ruin their business, and were they making enough profit? Was the cash flow going the way it's supposed to be? All the things that have to be looked at in a business. And a lot of times they were not doing anything right. So that's the tangible thing. But once I got them to where they felt like they might be sustainable for maybe 3 to 6 months, they wanted to grow. So I'd start putting together a business plan and I'd put it together and they'd help me with it and they'd be all excited. And then they'd take off with the business plan and eventually, inevitably, they would stop. They would just stop. And I'd say, what are you stopping for? You went through this with me. You said this is what you wanted, and you were part of the creation of this. Well, what I discovered is I had put together a plan to evolve the business, but not a plan to evolve the business owner. And that's when the intangibles came in. They usually didn't have the right perspective. They didn't have the right mindset. They didn't feel comfortable and confident that they could make the decisions they needed to make. All of these things were the intangibles, and that's what stopped them. And over time, I realized the intangibles were just as important, if not more, than the tangibles. But the more important thing is the tangible and intangible parts have to work together in harmony. If they don't, success never happens. Number 5, this is something that I tell my clients from the beginning. An entrepreneurial business is created from the inside out, as opposed to a bigger company that is created from the outside in. So everything that's going on inside of you is going to be manifest in your entrepreneurial business. You very rarely see somebody that's a very disorganized person have an organized business. All of the things that are happening, you're creating from inside of you out to the business because most of the time it might be just you or it might be some other people, but you're the one that's in control. So, how do you do all these things? How do you really get all of these things put together? Well, in the early 2000s, I wrote a book. It's entitled From Egopreneur to Ultrapreneur. I also went beyond the book and I've got recordings of what goes beyond the book. And the book and the recordings help you with all of the things that I've just talked about. They go into them in a lot more detail. And out of the book, I created a framework. It's not a one size fits all linear process, but it's a framework. Each individual entrepreneur fills in the framework. I just help you understand how it works. And I'll leave you with this. The most important thing you need to know in order to be successful is you. You are the thing that creates it. So with my framework, whatever you need a solution to will come through that framework, but it's really coming from inside of you. Any question you have, the answer will come out from you. And you being the one that decides the solution and the answer is the only way you're going to be a successful entrepreneur. You can't rely on other people, or they're going to create the business and life that you don't want. The number one regret of people that are in hospices is I wish I would have lived the life I wanted to live and not the life other people wanted me to live. That's me. The end.